And welcome back to the Stuff or Whatever podcast. I'm your host, B. Quanchi O'Brien here. And this week I kind of had this idea of kind of having more of a ranting kind of podcast. We're going to call it Grind My Gears because I feel like that's kind of maybe relatable or something that's like too, you know, complainy. But when it comes to like little pet peeves or stuff like that, but I thought I'd do a episode about grind my gears and things like that. Let's see, like I kind of wrote down some stuff. I feel like there's a lot of stuff I forget to mention, and kind of fun to see like whoever feels the same way or has these same pet peeves and things like that. But I thought it'd be kind of a fun idea to kind of like really go over stuff and things like that. The one thing that grinds my gears is when people sing out loud. And I don't want to come off like when there's people like, oh, I hate music, I hate people who sing, but these are usually people who like neighbors or coworkers or my God, like people on public transit or in waiting for the bus, wherever. Because back in the day, I did bus around a lot. But the thing that just kind of grinds my gears, 'cause I feel like a lot of times it's people who sing really, really badly, and sometimes you just want to tell them like shut the fuck up or stuff like that. But I find that grinds my gears that people sing it out loud. I'm not sure if they think they're really good at singing or anything like that. It kind of reminds me back in the old school days of American Idol, like when people always watch audition for people who sing really bad and stuff like that. So I think it's those kind of people. I even think like people who actually have a decent singing voice, it still kind of gets on my nerves. And this a time and place. Like if it's like karaoke or stuff like that, that's you sing because that's what you're supposed to do. But like when people sing in public and things like that, it just gets on my nerves because it's one of those things, like, especially when it's really bad. Like, honey, you're not on a stage, you don't have a record deal, your singing's not that great, so shut the fuck up. I know, I'm not sure, I don't really swear too much on the podcast, but I might get a few F bombs or whatever dropping. But yeah, people, especially bad singing people out loud, that gets on my nerves a lot. And then also, what gets on my nerves and what grinds my gears is people who play really loud music. Because I think probably like my majority of my adult life has been living in apartments and stuff like that. So I don't know why they call them apartments when they're all close together and stuff like that. When you have neighbors next to you, above you. But really grinds my gears people who play really loud music, and I think really the really loud bassy kind of music where you can almost feel it through the walls and things like that. Because I feel like in my experience, like it'd be like really late, like midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, playing loud music, and it's like kind of like frustrating too, because you like don't know exactly who's playing loud music. You don't want to get out of your apartment and kind of like hunt down or look around and see and complain. And I'm not that much of a confrontational person, anyways. And so I'm like, oh, I'll just like fall asleep or get over it. And sometimes it can be really bad. And I wish, I have a house or just rent a room or rent a house, but I'm not sure if that would happen anytime soon. But people who play loud music, I feel like a lot of it's like crappy music I don't even recognize. And I'm sure when you're hearing it through the wall, it's kind of hard to really decipher. But I think some of the hip hop, something that's like really, really bassy, like I don't know if to like crank up the bass really loud and stuff like that. But sometimes even have moments like it feels like it's the same song going on for like 20 minutes, but sure it changed. But sometimes it's almost feel like you're going mad or something with people playing loud music. And sometimes there's even one time like I put on my headphones like just to block the noise because sometimes there's earplugs, but if you have work the next day, you don't want to like plug your ears too much, you can't hear your alarm. But yeah, it kind of sucks sometimes. And I think people like that, who play loud music, the complete assholes and consider. I think especially in those situations where it's like late at night, even early morning, like I think even like 5 or 6 in the morning, you had like a time the neighbor play really loud music. And I think what's also like kind of drives me crazy is that like no other neighbors are complaining, or you don't hear anyone else kind of confronting them or telling them to quiet down, or I don't know. I don't feel like I live in too trashy of a complex. It's not too bad in the past. I just think it's like I don't know, just really inconsiderate asshole peoples and all that. But I think with this day and age, you know, people I don't know that too many people deal with like having a big stereo system. The people listening on the phones with the little Bluetooth boxes that Yeah, you can always put on a pair of headphones. There's a lot of great headphones out there, and even Bluetooth ones. If you want to like walk around in your place or chill, not be tethered to a wire. There's a lot of good Bluetooth headphones out there. So, buy one, quit playing your loud, crappy, shitty music. I don't want to hear it. I think it's also weird, like when people driving cars like that too. They always feel like the car is driving like crazy. I don't know. I don't get it. People like I don't feel like I have many friends that really play loud music or at all. But God, if I was like in a car and someone was playing loud, crappy music that was like really heavy on the bass and like shaking up the car or whatever, I might just like open the car door and just like roll out and fuck this shit. I don't want to deal with that. And I think growing up, I have trouble hearing. I don't know. That's kind of a long other story, but I remember a long time ago, like when I was born, they had to like have a procedure in my ear where they put like a little Teflon tube or something like that, and led to like speech issues, like learning how to speak properly. Long story, but I feel like someone who's maybe has more issues with hearing, maybe more sensitive to that kind of stuff too. But God, people play loud music, complete douchebags in my opinion. And another thing that grinds my gears, talking about loud people, is people who talk loudly on the phone. It's me again, like with neighbors. Like for some reason, people just want to like sit on the patio or sit outside versus inside the apartment. Or of course, when people are at the store or on the bus or waiting for the bus, I just feel like sometimes people just have loud conversations. And I think what kind of how lets me grinds my gears is that a lot of times like the people feel very like annoying or nagging or my God, like sometimes I feel like it's like an argument or one-sided, and you can't even imagine being the person on the line dealing with this person. So I think just also not that they're talking on the phone, but the types of people are like and I just throw out the word out there, but like someone who's like a real bitch or something like that on the phone, like my God, I can't even imagine staying on the phone for that long for that person. And sometimes annoying stuff too, like again the volume and talking about like TMI stuff out loud. I'm sure the other person wouldn't want you speaking out loud about this or that when especially like I feel like a lot of like drama stuff too, like family drama or drama with friends. You kind of overhear that. You can't help to overhear. Like these people like loud and annoying, but people who talk really loud on the phone is something that grinds my gears. Because I think it's that kind of thing. Like first off, you don't care, but it just because of volume and I don't know. Some reason it gets like draws your attention. Even it's like a train wreck or a car accident. Like you can't help but look and all that. But yeah, those people. I think it's just the type of people I associate with that kind of thing is also why it kind of grinds my gears. Another thing that kind of grinds my gears, another pet peeve, is when people swear excessively. And I know I dropped a few little language bombs here and there, but I kind of feel like this goes two ways for me. Like when people kind of use it as like slang or filler, like people would talk like F this, F that, S that, or whatever. It just feels, I mean, for lack of a better word, like ignorant. Like, if it's just to swear just for the sake of swearing, or it's just like, I don't know. And I'm not like too much of a clean cut guy. But I just kind of always had that mindset, like, working in like different jobs and positions, we kind of be a little bit more professional and things like that. So I always kind of feel like, that professionalism, even though, it's every day, people talking about whatever, even casual with friends, but I kind of feel like if it gets really excessive, it's really like, and sometimes like, you like those F bombs, you like those swears, and it feels like if it's like too much of a good thing, just kind of ruins it. I think part of that just kind of when people use like as filler or whatever, and like, okay, how many times can you use the F word until it gets old? And the other part about swearing is when people are like really angry in terms of like angry at customer service. I feel a lot of times when it's not really the person's fault, like the waitress or what do we call it? Because I mentioned on another podcast I used to work at a call center for customer service, and I feel like when people get really angry and feel like swearing a lot or yelling a lot will help get their way or get what they want. I don't know. I feel there's something like very like primitive or primal about it, but I feel like someone like really just swearing just for the sake of swearing, you know, or just like that angry kind of tone, it almost like I don't know, I can't take them that seriously or can't the level of respect kind of drops. I can get if some people like frustrated. I'm not gonna react too much at like an F bomb or stuff like that. But sometimes I feel like this like really angry, grumpy old men or Karens for to kind of paint a better picture. But those kind of people, you just eh, I get it. Sometimes it kind of drops adrenaline. Sometimes you just want to get them off the phone or whatever. So sometimes they get what they want in a sense, but I don't know. It just kind of feels like respect goes two ways, and I feel like when they treat people like that, especially people who may be more entry level or more inexperienced, especially with service, whether it be like retail or food service or stuff like that. I just kind of feel like it's them trying to like puff up and being angry and kind of having like a little power, um, I don't know, like a power holder or something like that. So that's one thing that gets on my nerves and kind of grinds my gears. Another thing is kind of related to the previous one, but always kind of grinds my gears or pet peeves when people use the hyperbole of the worst, like this is the worst experience, or this is the worst meal, or I had the worst waitress, or stuff like that. Because 99 out of 100 times it's not, and it's just them exaggerating, being pissed off, and you know, a lot of times I think it's people doing the best. Of course, out there there's bad customer service. There's like ditzy waitress or a waiter who doesn't give a shit, or whatever kind of workers and things like that too. When people say, "Oh, this is the worst," blah blah blah, or like the worst service or stuff like that. And again, I worked in call center and customer service, and kind of think of a good example of that when people say, "Oh, this is the worst thing ever," or the worst experience in my life, and trying to get access to the account. Oh, this is the worst thing. Okay, well, next go ahead and click on forgot password, and we can reset it, kind of thing. Like if someone says like being locked out to the online account is the worst thing ever, they probably had a pretty good life then. It is exaggerating, but I think when people kind of put that mentality and stuff like that too, it's kind of like I don't know, like setting yourself up. I think, not to say everyone should have a good, bubbly, positive attitude, but if you kind of have at least a good attitude or thinking like, hey, I'm going to be helped or whatever, versus thinking the worst and anticipating the worst or whatever. But that always sometimes even cracks me up because I even seen like there's like memes and pictures like someone wrote on their sign to like a coffee house like we serve the worst coffee according to Karen on Yelp or something like that. So I think that sometimes you can find some humor in it, but I feel like when people say this is the worst, blah blah blah, it's annoying and anything else. Another thing that grinds my gears and kind of piggyback, with customer service is that I really really hate calling customer service. Like I don't have too much to worry about, but like when it comes to like cable internet or services and things like that, like I really hate calling and waiting on customer service and navigating through menus and all that. So kind of annoying because I feel like sometimes, like, because again, not to repeat myself so many times, but I always, where I worked in the call center, and I always kind of have the mentality like, I want to, help people. I want to like do my best and treat people how I like to be treated, kind of thing. So I kind of have that level of, I guess, integrity, for lack of a better word. But I always kind of have, oh yeah, I want to know what I'm talking about and know like what the problem is, what to fix the problem, things like that, without getting too detailed. But I always kind of have that mentality, and sometimes when you call the customer service, you kind of don't get that, like long holds or pauses, and like, oh, let me pull up your account, and you get on pause or hold for like a minute, and like I don't know. And again, it might be a little um, presumptuous or whatever to think that the other person is not as knowledgeable or stupid and or whatever. But I don't know. That's kind of being a little blunt and maybe not the best word choice, but you kind of feel like I kind of like that level of knowledge and experience. Something who at least knows what they're talking about. Because I feel like one time, like my internet was down and I called customer service, and it felt like maybe like a 20-minute call of them like pulling my account, being on hold, blah blah blah, and like, oh, there was this outage, they're working on it. So I felt that was brought up sooner. That would have saved me some time. And I don't know. I think like also sometimes not this might be a little controversial to say, but I think sometimes when you call customer service and it's kind of outsourced, quote unquote, you can kind of really tell. I don't know. Again, it feels like that knowledge thing, or being adequate of what they're doing in terms of relaying information. It isn't all that bad. I'm sure it's kind of a few small experiences that kind of linger in your head. But nowadays, like a lot of times, they have like a lot of customer service has online chat, which is like a blessing in disguise. Um, and not to get too much in terms of like my job history and stuff like that, but I've been part of that too. Like when you communicate with customers online, and I think that's kind of nice too, where um, I had to worry about hold, and sometimes I feel like there's a little delay. I know at least the company I work for, they like, oh, you got to respond to this message in so many minutes. Kind of have that level of quality, and sometimes I feel like it's a message and like wait, wait, wait. But sometimes you have time, but I think I'd rather do that than just being on hold or all that, especially if the call drops. So that's one thing that gets my nerves, but I think sometimes not all that bad. And maybe I'm even exaggerating about that, especially if there's alternatives like online messaging and stuff like that. And another thing that grinds my gears is getting deliveries from Amazon. And I feel like, nowadays, like everyone orders stuff from Amazon, it's like the go to. And for the most part, it's been pretty reliable, pretty good. And I'm not sure if this is more so, when you live at an apartment complex versus a home or house. Sometimes I feel like the delivery is so weird. Like, I feel like when you deliver a package, and I'm at home a lot of times, and where I just relax at home is like in front of my TV or my living area, and the door is like pretty close by, especially when you live in an apartment. But I feel like as soon as they like drop a package and knock on the door, they just fucking bolt. Like they just out of there. Like you can answer the door in like less than 10 seconds, and the person who delivered the package is nowhere to be seen. Um, I'm not sure if that's just with Amazon, because I know with like some places like UPS or FedEx, like you have to sign for stuff or you confirm. A lot of times you don't, but it's like one of those things like want to confirm what you're getting and all that. But I even had some like missed deliveries and things like that. Not that they missed delivering to me, but they didn't deliver it properly. Like one time, Amazon delivered a package to my neighbor above me, and thank God, like I'm not sure what they do because sometimes they'll post a picture of the package at your doorstep. Sometimes they don't. This one they did, and I recognized, oh, that's not my doorstep, and I'm like, that may be the neighbor above me, and it felt kind of awkward because my neighbor wasn't home, so I feel like I was going to his doorstep stealing a package that was actually for me. But like, and I'm not sure if they just misread because there's just one number off at above you and things like that. But sometimes I feel like that's a simple thing that could have been avoided. I even one like a neighbor around the corner of my complex, like they got my package and I got theirs, and it was like a nice blender that they got. I was like, God, and they were home, and because I think they actually brought the package in as like for the daughter and the mother got the package and didn't realize, even look at it, I'm like, oh, we swap packages and stuff like that. It's like, thank God, because worst thing worse is like have someone take what you have, especially if it's higher value or something not more intended to them, and then they have your goods. But hopefully, for the most part, people are decent and stuff like that too. But that's one thing that kind of drove me crazy is like how they deliver. And I even remember one time, like they kind of, because a lot of times when you get stuff delivered from Amazon and it's delivered, you can see in your account like how it was delivered, like at the doorstep or in the office or whatever. Sometimes they do like the mailbox because my mailboxes on my comics also has like this parcel boxes where if they deliver packages there, then you put the key in your mailbox and you just get a key and it's like open it and get it out and stuff like that. And even sometimes like I'm not sure why like the mail would deliver the Amazon package or UPS because I know like over the years Amazon has their vans that I see driving all over the place. A lot of times it's delivered directly from Amazon. But I remember one time, like when I read the delivery, like it was um, delivered to roommate, and then like no, it wasn't. And then I found out it was delivered to my leasing office or like the front office. Like, okay, well, because they even say that like if it's delivered to the front office, like they have like an option for that. Yeah, don't fucking say that you delivered to your roommate when it was delivered to the front office because they're not my roommates, and that's another thing that got annoyed and things like that. Because I feel like sometimes my office does not a great job of like alerting me that I got a package unless it may be a couple days old, stuff like that too. But a lot of times, I get those alerts to notification emails, whatever. It's like, oh, I got a package, and then it's not on my doorstep and whatever. So like, you always worry about missed delivery. I don't think I actually ever had a missed delivery. Like, hey, I never got what I ordered, but I don't know. Maybe it's me more of a stickler for it, and maybe that's why it more grinds my gears. Another thing that grinds my gears is I'm kind of guilty of seeing those little posts on my Facebook or uh, Twitter, whatever, like those list calls, like how like 40th this or 30th that. Like sometimes it'd be like um, forgotten fast food items or products that are no one makes anymore, and kind of fun, or like stuff about. I feel like there's a lot of anime listicles too, like TV shows and things like that. I'm guilty of like enjoying those. I think God, I don't think I've visited a website in forever, but like I think the BuzzFeed. Um, I'm not sure if it's still on it, but BuzzFeed would be known having all those like listicles and stuff like that. Like even like animal pigs or whatever. Like I think those kind of fun, especially if it's like appeals to me. Or I think some of the fun ones are like, oh, great products from Amazon under $20 or stuff like that. Like, oh, that's kind of neat. But the ones that really grind my gears are the ones that are a slideshow, because usually have a they have advertised the heck out of those pages, those websites, and so there's like 5 different ads, and then when it's a slideshow, they have to like we go to the next page just to see the next thing. It's so annoying. Like I don't mind like scrolling down, even if there's a couple ads or pop-ups or whatever. Not really like pop-ups, but those little videos that kind of like dominate for a couple seconds or whatever. But like listicles that have these little slideshows where you just like stuff like that, like wash up actors or where are they now or stuff like that. I don't want to click the next button over and over just to have like 50 different ads bomb me in the face. Not bad, because you live in a day and age that there's ads everywhere watching this now. Even watching on YouTube and TV and whatever. There's ads everywhere, but I enjoy some of the listicles, but sometimes if they're like so annoying and almost like tiring just to flip to each slide, then that just grinds my gears. You know, I'm not sure this may be more just me. I'm sure others might be related to this. But what grinds my gears is when I get a text message from somebody, I don't recognize the number, and they don't introduce themselves or things like that. So you don't know who's actually texting you. And sometimes it seems like, okay, they're trying to actually text me, but I don't know who the hell they are. I know that like you see this little post like new phone, who dis, but then I just don't want to like confirm like, hey, you got my number kind of thing, because I don't text too much in terms of like having too many contacts and I keep track of that stuff. I feel like this day and age I use Android and Google. So every time I get a new phone, I like never have to update my contacts. Like it just like imports from Google and all that. I even have like I think I had to update it too, because sometimes I'll get phone numbers from people I don't talk to anymore or old contacts, and like, oh, I had to delete that, and then go into my Google to make sure it doesn't keep importing from phone to phone. So the point is like, hey, if we text each other often, or at least contact, you're going to be saved in my contacts. I'm going to know who's texting me when I get the text message, and when I don't, I'd rather have someone introduce themselves, because likely it's probably been forever since I even spoke to this person or even received any kind of communication from them. So they just say, "Hey, it's been a while. Hey, it's blah blah blah. How's it going?" kind of thing. Because, like I said, I just don't want to confirm my contact with somebody. I'm not, because if you're not in my contacts, there might be a reason for it. Again, people like get new phones all the time, even change their numbers, so who knows. But my advice is that if you're like contacting someone you haven't spoke to a while, I know friends kind of drift apart and drift back together and things like that. So I don't mind that. But if you're like contacting me on the number, I'm not gonna really even acknowledge it unless you like uh, confirm who you are, kind of thing. I think that's also a good rule of thumb, just in case. I know people out there are concerned about who has the contact, especially if you had like a phone number change. So I think if someone's trying to text you, um, maybe not being so quick, like, oh yeah, you did reach me, and then it might be like a crazy ex or a stalker or whoever. I don't know. I never had that really crazy drama myself personally, but I just don't like having that feeling of confirming, yeah, this is me, before even knowing who's trying to contact me. So I think I'm more sensitive to that. I don't like friends giving my number out or things like that, even if I probably would give out my number to this person. I know this person. I just don't. I want it to come from me and like be more direct, and versus coming through a third party. But yeah, that might help. Thought that was worth mentioning. And another thing that grinds my gears is lines at the bank. And thank God I don't deal with big lines anymore. I think over the years with technology, because for the most part it'd be like depositing a check or cash from like a roommate and stuff like that to my bank account. Because what would drive me crazy is that I feel like it would take sometimes, not all the time, but it would take forever. Like even if there's like 3 or 4 people in front of you, and I would feel like, oh, what I have is simple. It takes maybe like a minute or so just to get my transaction done. For some reason, I don't know what's going on. With people. Sometimes I think they would take like forever. Um, and it always feels like there would be like 1 or 2 people, like tellers at the counter, maybe one doing other stuff. And like you wish they would kind of help out too. But when it's a long line and you kind of like, what's going on? Like why are these people taking so much time to do the transaction at the bank? And kind of feel like how people complain about going to the DMV and stuff like that too. Like when the bank kind of feels like the DMV, that drives me crazy. But thankfully nowadays I have direct deposit for my work paycheck and stuff like that. And we need to deposit cash, pretty much. At least the bank where I banked at, I'm not sure if most banks, but at least the bank I go to, you can do cash deposits at the ATM and just like that. So I can't even remember last time I talked to a bank teller. Um, but yeah, don't miss it, but I'm glad things, improve over time with technology. And then one last thing that grinds my gears is people who rubberneck when it comes to driving and stuff like that too. It drives me crazy sometimes because I kind of feel like it's coming. As when the traffic is backed up, and like when there's a car accident too, um, traffic is like back up. Like I don't know how it happens in terms of people like really slow down and people behind them slow down and gets like back up for quite a bit, and then um, as soon as you get past the car accident, you for the most part is like even off to the sides. It's not like really blocking the traffic. I've seen sometimes like things get more worse. Like I don't think I ever seen anything like too crazy in terms of like injuries or things like that. But I've seen some bad car accidents that kind of affected some of the highway lanes. But sometimes they're completely off the road, and the cops are there and stuff like that, and tow trucks. But as soon as you get past that, traffic gets like normal. It drives me crazy because you feel like for me, I'm guilty of it, and I almost feel like an asshole for like rubbernecking too. Like, it's like one thing you can't help it because people are slowed down. So if you're slowed down anyways, you might as well glance over. Now, the time I can glance over, be like, I can't really tell how bad the accident is. Like, it doesn't look like much, or sometimes you're looking like, holy shit, or damn, or whatever. Like, you kind of have that quick reaction and all that. But I feel like it shouldn't hold up the whole highway like it does. Because I feel like you don't really slow down unless, of course, I have to slow down for the cars in front of me. I even see like rubbernecking for when someone gets pulled over by the cops. It might be a thing with a license, or maybe they're speeding or something like that. But I feel like, oh, there's a cop that pulled someone over. I should slow down. And like, no, the cop's not gonna like pull you over. Like they're not gonna like in the middle of riding a ticket be like, oh damn, someone going 5 miles over the speed limit is speeding. Let me skip this and jump my car and chase them down. Um, but again, like sometimes there's like speed traps too. I get that as well. But I feel like some this level of rubbernecking, especially if this really slows down traffic, especially when you see that immediate like things get back on track right after you get past it, kind of thing. Like if people just not rubberneck or slow down as much, maybe glance a little bit if you're curious, but be safe and all that as well. But God, it feels like sometimes it just drives me crazy. I feel like a lot of times that it has happened to me, like driving home from work and like I had like 10 minutes to my commute just because people were rubbernecking. Anyways, I think that's going to wrap things up. I'm not sure if this was interesting or fun or relatable. People can comment below. What are your pet peeves or what grinds your gears and stuff like that? I felt like I had a little bit more, but I wrote some things down so I didn't forget stuff. I'm sure I did. And I don't know, it's like, I think sometimes it's fun to rant, or listening to rants as well, because it kind of have that little, if you relate to it, you feel the same way. It's like, oh, they feel the same way I do, or being like in the same boat, kind of thing. So I think sometimes it's just these are our rants, especially if they're not like too crazy or out there. Kind of fun to listen to. But yeah, thanks for listening for those who did, and Be sure to follow, subscribe. I always have my links for like Twitter and stuff like that as well. Always interested to see more feedback or get more interactions to see. Oh no, who knows in the future if I might do more things like this on the podcast. But thanks again, and hope everyone's listening to this has a great day, and hopefully not too much stuff really gets on your nerves today or this week or this month, whatever. So talk to y'all later, and I'll see you to next time. Bye.